This is Forge Daily with Mackenzie Barwell on the Forge Audio Network.
Welcome to today's episode of Forge Daily. I'm your host, Mackenzie Barwell, coming to you on May 15th, 2024. That means we are just 3 days out from Forge FC's home match this Saturday against Vancouver FC. In today's episode, we'll talk about that as well as where Forge currently stands in the CPL standings, just how tough this next week and a half will be for them in terms of scheduling, and then we'll get into some conversations with some of your favorite Forge FC players, including goalkeeper Jassem Koleilat, defender Garven Metusala, and striker Jordan Hamilton. So let's just get right into it, beginning with where Forge currently stand amongst other teams in the CPL. All right, so we've talked a lot about the performances of other teams around the league on the audio network as of late, so I want to make sure that everybody's on the same page. Forge FC currently sit in third with 3 wins and 1 draw. Pacific and Atletico Ottawa sit above them, tied for first place with a total of 11 points each. Mind you, they have played 5 games total, so 1 more than Forge FC, each of them having collected 3 wins and 2 draws. Now, something else that Melty and I have talked about is the fact that Pacific haven't conceded a goal in the regular season yet. So goal differential is looking a little bit different, but in terms of standings, it'll be Atletico, Pacific, and then Forge, not far behind them, might I add. Forge with 3 wins and 1 draw, total of 10 points. And right below them, their opponent for this Saturday, Vancouver FC. They've got 2 wins, 2 losses, and 1 draw. So they sit in 4th with 5 matches played. Just all things to consider ahead of this weekend, because Vancouver here has an opportunity to bump themselves up the ladder with Forge being their next target in the standings. Looking ahead now to the upcoming week and a half, Coach Bobby and I talked about this a little bit in yesterday's episode of Behind the Beard. They have quite the congested schedule in terms of match days. So as you all know, they'll play this Saturday against Vancouver, but then shortly after, they'll travel to Montreal on Tuesday to play CF Montreal in the second leg of that quarterfinal for the Canadian Championship Wednesday night. They'll stay over in Montreal on Wednesday, travel to Ottawa the following day, get a training session in Ottawa that afternoon, and then continue until they play Atletico on Saturday. So a lot of travel and very little rest. I thought it would be smart to break it down for anyone who hasn't looked quite that far ahead yet. Moving on now to my post-practice conversations. We'll work our way up the pitch here, starting with goalkeeper Jassem Koleilat, then center back Garven Metusala, and finally, all the way up top, Jordan Hamilton. First, I had the opportunity to ask Jass how he feels after his debut, not only making his first appearance, but keeping a clean sheet while at it, and what exactly he liked about the way that his team played as a whole that set him up for success.
It was good. Obviously, wasn't entirely satisfied because we didn't come away with the 3 points, but it was good to know that I got my first game out the way, like some of the nerves shaken off.
True.
But happy to be on the field again. You know, I think Alex and Garvin, like especially those two, I always associate myself with the center backs the most, but those 2 guys have been like really solid, and I think that helps me. I have a good relationship with Garvin especially, so going into that game knowing I have like a really good friend as well in front of me to support me is just gives me all more the confidence, I guess.
Yeah, totally. Just out of curiosity, how soon before that game are you told, hey, you're going to be starting and playing this match?
I was told the morning of, so pretty quick turnaround, but it was good to know. For me at that time, it was kind of just like exciting, because I know I've been doing well at training, and obviously like the good competition I have with Chris is always like healthy and nice. So previous teams, it's always been like, you know, sometimes you don't really get along with the guy next to you, but I think me and Chris have very similar backgrounds in the sense of what we've done in our pro careers so far, and we kind of had that respect for each other as like we've both been in that seat. So like constantly it's always like just good feedback to each other, and like obviously it's just showing each other the respect we deserve.
Okay, last one for you. Obviously, All-State save of the match, looking back at the 36th minute or something like that. When you make those kind of saves, like, is there anything going through your head, or is it just like go?
It's just kind of a go moment, you know, like I switch on and react. at that moment, all I know is just on to the next play, you know. Obviously, it goes out for a corner. There's not much time to celebrate it, but it's a good feeling, obviously.
You're not going to be like, yeah!
No. Maybe in the 90th minute if something like that happens, for sure.
In game over, but not at that time. Okay.
Yeah.
I also had an opportunity to chat with center back Garven Metusala. As some of you may remember, he suffered a bit of a knock earlier on this season. It was an ankle injury. I asked him how he's feeling about his performances as of late and how that ankle injury, or whether or not it did, affected his ability to really get back into the swing of things.
Like, it for sure affected me since it was an ankle injury. I think I was off for like 5 weeks, 6 weeks. So I had like 2 tears in my ankle. So coming back was a bit tough, especially like I felt limited in some movement, especially the first game against Valor. I thought I was going to play 10 minutes and then I had to play 45 because Malik got injured at halftime. Doing stuff like long balls and maybe like changes of direction were tough. But like every day, like do strengthening exercises. So now I'm saying that I'm slowly getting back into my full form.
Okay, crazy that you had to go on for 45. In hindsight, do you think that was almost a good thing because you were kind of forced to like push your limit a little bit?
Yeah, I think so because I was a bit skeptical. I think it was also the mental side of it. Like I was
it's a mental block for
sure.
100%.
Like I wasn't expecting to play 45, and then since I had no choice, I was just like I had to put my mind into it and be like, okay, let's go. You play 45, and we got a dub on my first match, so I was happy for that. But like I've told you, I don't think I'm 100% yet. But I think I've been doing the job. I had a good game against Valor, against York, and also Montreal. I think I've done pretty well. Pacific as well last week. But obviously, I know that I can do like way, way, way better. And I hope that the best is to come.
Mm-hmm. Okay, something else I wanted to ask you about is the guy to your left now, Daniel Para. Mm-hmm. He's a relatively new face. What's it been like playing next to him, and what do you think like he's been able to provide, maybe just in terms of that back line?
Yeah. He's just is an offensive. He brings energy. He's an offensive left back. He has a lot of qualities on the ball, off the ball. His work rate is insane. Like he goes up and comes down every time. And we have a good relationship as well. Like I've been working on my Spanish for like a good 2 years now. So we speak Spanish a bit, like together on the field, off the field. He teaches me like a bit more words with Seba. So I'm trying to learn to make my Spanish better as well. So on the pitch, I feel like we already have a connection. So hopefully this is going to continue till the end of the season because he's been doing well.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Spanish?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, my Spanish is actually not bad. You can ask him, even Seba. Like I'm talking to them in Spanish a lot of times.
Are you on Duolingo?
Duolingo helps. Like I'm on like a 520-day streak.
Really?
I can show you. I'm serious. Like
congratulations.
I'm serious. Thank you. I'm serious about it.
Wow.
Yeah.
I missed your 1-year Duolingo anniversary. That's so funny though, but yeah. I can imagine he provides something a little bit different in terms of like attacking
100%.
From the back line. We were just talking about it a second ago before I started recording, but the amount of steps you put in, I'm sure Daniel's probably up there with the most.
Yeah, he's one of the guys that wants the most, like because he just has a lot of energy. Like
he's up and down
all the time. Sometimes you see him defending on the right and stuff like that. So no, he runs a lot. Like he brings a lot of energy, and that's something we need as well.
There you go, him and Daniel. If you hear them speaking Spanish on the pitch, that's why. He showed me his Duolingo streak after our conversation, and he's not lying. He's got it down. But to be fair, he does have some French, so maybe there's some overlap. Impressive, nonetheless. Okay, last but not least, I had a chance to talk to Jordan Hamilton. He made his presence known right off his first start, the preliminary round of the Canadian Championship against York. He scored 2 goals not long after kickoff. So I asked him how he's been feeling about his game so far and how his prior experience with the Canadian Championship has benefited him.
Yeah, I think as a striker, the main thing is scoring goals, but not only that, showing the capacity to run for a full 90 minutes and support the team defensively as well. Obviously, putting the ball in the back of the net's priority number 1, but I think being a handful for the center backs for a whole 90 minutes is something I can bring to the game, and I think I've been doing that. Obviously, experience is invaluable. I've played against Montreal and against other teams in the Canadian Championship plenty times, and I've also been on the other side of it where I'm on an MLS team playing against a USL team or CPL hadn't been around yet when I
Right.
was playing against. So we were playing teams like Ottawa Fury. And yeah, so I've been on the other side of it, and I know how challenging it can be, especially, with a quality team like ours. I think we need to go into Montreal and just put our front foot forward, and we can, do something special. So it's a great tournament. It's really fun to win. So yeah, I think when we're all on the field at the same time in attack, I think it's very exciting. You can see, hopefully, as a fan or yourself, we create a lot of chances for each other. We all aren't selfish and want to see the other guy succeed. To somebody looking at the game, they might think somebody took a shot, but they shouldn't have taken. But we're not upset at each other if we're taking shots around the box. So I think we have that camaraderie, and that's one thing I noticed over the years is the teams that are always successful have a solid core of guys who understand how to play together and have been together for a few years. And I think that's a big difference in our team and our players' forms at the beginning of this year.
Okay, that's all I have for today's episode. There will be a lot more to talk about in the coming days. I've got an episode of Max Access lined up for tomorrow with defender Malcolm Duncan. Thank you all so much for tuning in to today's episode, and I'll be back to check in on the audio network in less than 24 hours.
This has been Forge Daily with Mackenzie Barwell. If you like what you heard, please like, follow, subscribe, comment, and share.